Every morning at 7:15, the single dad lifted the same woman's fallen groceries from the same cracked sidewalk, never late, never missing a day. He didn't know her name, didn't know her story, didn't even know why life kept placing her in his path. But on the morning he finally offered her a warm smile and said, "Looks like I'm your personal rescue team," she leaned in with trembling lips and whispered, "You don't remember me, do you?" Before we begin this emotional journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories. Every morning began the same way for Daniel Hayes, a 34-year-old single dad who balanced breakfast dishes, missing socks, school lunches, and his son Ollie's endless questions about dinosaurs and planets. Their routine was tight, timed down to the minute, because Daniel's bus arrived at exactly 7:30 and he couldn't afford to miss it. Being late risked losing the job that kept their tiny apartment standing. But every morning at 7:15, without fail, something else happened. The stranger on Maple Street dropped her groceries. Not all of them, just enough to scatter an orange or a can of soup rolling across the sidewalk. She was in her early 30s, tall and gentle looking, with soft brown hair always tied in the same loose braid and a long beige coat she wore no matter the season. Her hands often shook as she gathered her things. Daniel didn't know her story, but he could tell she lived in a quiet world, quiet in a way that felt heavy. And so, each morning, he helped her. "Here," he would say calmly, picking up the runaway items while balancing Ollie on one hip. She always thanked him in a soft voice, barely above a whisper, and walked away with a small nod. But she never met his eyes, not once. Ollie, however, noticed everything. "Daddy, she's sad," he said one morning as they walked away. Daniel glanced back at the woman, watching her cross the street without lifting her gaze. "Maybe," he said, "we all get sad sometimes." But Ollie shook his head. "No, she's sad every day." Daniel didn't reply. He had learned long ago that some people hid stories too fragile to touch. Still, something about her stayed in his mind, like a bookmark left in a story he'd forgotten he once read. Days turned into weeks, and the pattern continued. Groceries dropped, Daniel helping, the woman thanking him softly and disappearing down the same street. But on one particular morning, something different happened. The woman wasn't carrying groceries. Instead, she stood near the corner where they usually met, holding only a small white envelope. Her hands trembled more than usual. When she saw Daniel and Ollie approaching, she flinched, not out of fear, but recognition. Daniel paused. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. She nodded too quickly. "Yes, sorry. Sorry." Her voice cracked as if unused. Then she dropped the envelope. Instinctively, Daniel bent to pick it up. As he handed it to her, she stared at him, really stared, as though searching for something inside his face. Daniel felt a discomfort he didn't understand. Do we know each other?" he asked, half smiling, trying not to sound strange. Her breath hitched. "You don't remember me," she whispered, and the ache in her voice felt like something sharp and buried between them. Before Daniel could ask more, a bus roared by, forcing him to grab Ollie's hand. When he turned back, she was already walking away, her shoulders curled as if protecting old wounds. He watched her go, confusion swirling through him. Something about her tremble, her voice, her expression tugged at a memory, faded, broken, unreachable. And as he and Ollie hurried toward their bus, he couldn't shake the feeling that the woman wasn't a stranger at all. She was someone from a chapter of his life he'd forgotten, or perhaps someone he once failed. Daniel spent the rest of the day distracted, replaying the woman's whisper in his mind, "You don't remember me." The words clung to him like fog, slipping between the cracks of memories he long avoided. After work, while walking home with Ollie's hand in his, he caught sight of her again on Maple Street. This time, she sat on a bench, staring at the small envelope still unopened on her lap. Her expression was hollow, the kind of hollow Daniel had seen once, long ago. He approached her cautiously. "Ma'am," she looked up, startled. "You came back," she whispered, as if she didn't expect him to notice her twice in a day. Daniel sat down on the far end of the bench, giving her space. "Look, I don't want to make you uncomfortable," he began. "But earlier you said something about me not remembering you. Have we met before?" Her lips trembled, and she took a moment to breathe. "My name is Hannah," she said softly. Hannah Reed. The name echoed faintly in his mind, like a song he once heard as a child but couldn't recall fully. "Hannah," he repeated. "I'm sorry. I'm not sure. It was years ago," she said. You wouldn't recognize me now. She looked down at her hands, thin, pale, marked with faint stress lines. Back then I was in a very different place. And you were the reason I survived something I didn't think I could. Daniel froze. What do you mean? Hannah swallowed hard. You were working the night shift at the hospital, she said. Your wife was giving birth. I was there too, but not for something joyful. His chest tightened, memories creeping back, the white walls, the quiet halls, the night his world changed. That night, Hannah whispered, I was sitting alone in the waiting room, on the edge of something terrible. I thought I had no reason to keep living. Daniel's breath caught. Ollie looked up at him, confused, but Daniel kept his focus on Hannah's shaking voice. You were rushing to get to your wife, she continued. But you stopped when you saw me crying. You didn't know me. You didn't have time, but you knelt beside me and told me something I'll never forget. Daniel blinked. What did I say? Hannah squeezed the envelope tightly. You told me, you matter to someone, even if you don't know who yet. Daniel felt his heartbeat stutter. He didn't remember saying it, but it sounded like something he might have said in the chaos of that night, when emotion ran high and truth spilled unfiltered. I left the hospital because of those words, Hannah whispered. I lived because you made me feel seen. And then, months later, I saw you again. You were alone that time. Holding a newborn. Crying. Daniel's chest felt like it was caving in. After losing his wife during childbirth, the memories of the hospital became a locked room he never revisited. Hannah's voice softened to almost nothing. I saw the pain in you. And because you had saved me, I wanted to help. I held Ollie for you while you broke down. You apologized, then you walked away, and forgot me. Tears blurred Daniel's vision. He hadn't forgotten her. He had buried everything from that night in grief too large to hold. And this woman, this quiet stranger he'd helped every morning, had been part of the most painful chapter of his life. Hannah, he whispered, voice cracking, I'm so sorry. But she shook her head. You saved me twice, she said. Once back then, and again every morning now, even without remembering me. And for the first time, Daniel truly understood why life had brought her back. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Hannah's story clung to the air around him, mixing with memories of the hospital, the sterile smell, the rushed voices, the final words he whispered to his wife as she held on for the last time. He had spent years trying to bury the pieces, to focus only on raising Ollie and surviving, but now those sealed away moments returned with clarity. The next morning, he woke up early, heart pounding with a quiet determination. Ollie shuffled sleepily beside him as they walked toward Maple Street. For the first time in weeks, sunlight broke through the clouds, casting long golden streaks across the sidewalk. And there she was, Hannah, standing at the same cracked stretch of pavement where she always dropped her groceries. Only today, she held nothing in her hands. No groceries, no envelope, just a hesitant expression, as if unsure whether she should stay or disappear again. Daniel approached slowly. Good morning, he said gently. She gave a fragile smile. Good morning. Ollie waved brightly. Hi Miss Hannah. She laughed softly, the sound delicate like something healing. Daniel took a breath. I remember pieces, he said. Not everything, but enough to know that I owe you more than a quick apology. Hannah's eyes shimmered. You don't owe me anything. I do, he insisted. You were there in a moment when my world shattered. You carried a part of that night with you. And I didn't even know. She looked down. I didn't want to make your life heavier. Daniel stepped closer, voice warm but steady. You didn't make it heavier. You made it human. A long silence settled between them, soft but full, like two stories finally finding the same page. Hannah, he said quietly, you've been alone a long time, haven't you? Her lips trembled, but she nodded. Yes. Then let me return the kindness you once gave me, he whispered. Let me be the person who sees you too. She blinked, stunned. For the first time, she didn't look sad, she looked uncertain, hopeful, shaken in a good way. Ollie tugged on her coat. Miss Hannah, do you want to walk with us? Daddy always buys me a muffin on Fridays. Daniel chuckled softly. It's Wednesday, buddy. Then we buy one for her today. Ollie declared with the fierce wisdom of a child who understood hearts better than adults did. Hannah laughed. A real laugh, free and warm. Together, they walked down the street, not as strangers connected only by old wounds, but as three people stepping into a future where kindness wasn't an accident, it was a bridge. As they reached the cafe, Hannah paused beside Daniel. Thank you, she whispered. For seeing me again. Daniel looked at her, his voice steady and full. This time, I won't forget. And with the morning sun rising over Maple Street, two souls who had once saved each other in the shadows found a new beginning in the light. If this story touched your heart, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories.